Now that we know how to create a web page, we're going to build out our structural blocks based on our mockup. Before we do that, though, we need to make sure that we're in the properly managed site and choosing the appropriate exercise folders. So clicking on this drop-down menu, choosing Manage Sites, there's our Cupcake Mary managed site, but it's pointing to folder 6.1, and we want it to point to folder 6.2, so we're using the appropriate files from our Files panel. Clicking Done. Now we have the files that we need. So picking up where we left off before, we have our opening and closing div container. I'm going to delete that placeholder text here and drop the closing div tag down to the next line because we're going to start building in those content blocks. So we have our container and we will create a style in another movie that will control its positioning to be fixed with and center align. But for now, we're just going to focus on coding the structural blocks. Again, you can insert div tags through the Insert menu or the Insert panel, or sometimes I think it's faster just to copy and paste code and edit straight in Code View. I'm just going to copy this whole thing, opening and closing tag, using my keyboard shortcuts to copy it, placing my cursor inside and then dropping down to the next line and then pasting. So we have a nested div tag. Then I'll change the name. So the first block that we need is for our header. And I'm just going to copy and paste so this goes nice and smooth. So now we have our header nested inside of our container. Then I'll copy that block, and I've indented it one space there. We also need a container for our main area and a third for our footer. So I'm just copying and pasting. It's going really fast this way, so you can copy and paste, or if you're a fast typer, like so. So now we've got our main container that holds everything together, fixed with in the center of the browser window, and then we have those three blocks, header, main, and footer. Now, we're going to have some nested containers in each of those three blocks. Copy this one and paste it in here. Now, inside our header, we want to have the logo. Let's nudge this guy over a little bit. And then also inside the header, we're going to have our banner. And then below that, we're going to have our navigation. And we can call that navbar. So now you can see we've got those nested div containers. And if you're a stickler for spacing, you can adjust that. So we can see the hierarchy happening here. Now I'm going to copy all three of those and go into our main area and paste that in. Because in our main area, we need two. We need one for our content, the stuff that's going to flow on the left side of the page, and another one for our sidebar, where we have our cupcake of the month. And we don't need that third one because our main area only has two subsections, but our footer has three. So I still have that stuff on my clipboard, just going to paste it in there. And those three, I want to call the left one foot nav because it's a repeat of our navigation, but it's in the footer. The middle one, I will call it our contact, general contact information. And that last one is where we'll have our social media. So we'll call it network, like networking. And there's the end of our footer. So we've built the structural blocks for our website in HTML. And we're ready to move on to styling.